Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and you are watching TTV News with some latest events in the province. And now coming to details. Ladies and gentlemen, on June 1st, Mr. Ninh Son, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, Chairman of the Provincial People Council, and the group of delegates of the Provincial People Council, TayNinhTV People Council had a meeting with voters of Ward 4.
At the meeting, voters of Ward 4 reflected opinions related to inner city traffic, such as the drainage system of Lạc Long Quân Street at gate number 2 to Canal Pond is not placed reasonably, causing flooding in the rainy season. Encroachment in the pavement of Cách Mạng Tháng 8 Street still exists. The names of alley number 7, Lạc Long Quân Street, and alley number 12A, Nguyễn Văn Rô Street have not been unified, so the number plates of households are not clear. Voters asked the World Community Investment Supervision Board to continuously strengthen the supervision of works in the area, especially works to upgrade roads. Voters also suggested that functional sectors pay attention, focusing on building inner city roads, especially areas with high population density, to facilitate travel and goods trade for people. In addition, voters also proposed a number of issues about the increase of tuition fees, the increase in gas and life prices affecting the economic life of the people. The subsidy regime for party committees is still limited. It is necessary to have orientations, plans, and solutions for the appropriate use of public land. Mr. Ninh Son thanked the voters of Ward 4 for their attention and gave very relevant comments, and asked the city's leaders and local authorities to continuously direct the functional branches in order to promptly solve for the people. He also suggested that the authority at town levels continue to promote propaganda and orientations in the implementation of urban civilized lifestyle, contributing to the accomplishment of the goal of building a city that meets the standards of greater urban areas and increasingly developing.
Also, the same day, the delegates of the Provincial People's Council included Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc, Chairman of the Provincial People Committee, Mr. Nguyễn Hồng Thanh, Head of the Provincial Party Committee Internal Affairs Department, Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Deputy Commander of the Provincial Military Command, along with the delegate group of the City People Council, had a meeting with voters in Ninh Son Ward.
The voters of Ninh Son Ward gave opinions around the field of inner city traffic, such as many places in alley 29 Bơi Street, Ninh An water have been subsided, causing water stagnation in the rainy season, affecting the travel of people. It is requested to upgrade and repair, commence on land settlement at the nursery garden in Ninh Trung Water, the land at the intersection of highways in Ninh Thành Quarter. At the meeting, Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc informed voters that the socio-economic situation in the province has basically been completely restored, achieving many positive results. The work of epidemic prevention control, additional vaccination for people was carried out in a timely manner. Policies on social security are implemented in a timely manner to ensure people's life. On the occasion of International Children's Day, June 1st, the Provincial Department of Labor, Work Investment and Social Affairs, along with the Provincial Vietnam Fatherland Rights Committee, presented gifts at the Blind Children's Center in the province. There were 100 gifts worth 1 million Vietnam dong in cash and milk, which were presented by leaders of departments, branches, and localities to 100 students of the Blind Children's Center and the Provincial School for the Disabled. The above gifts are sponsored by Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Lottery One Member Company Limited. Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Lottery One Member Company Limited has supported 4 centers that are nurturing, caring for, and teaching the disabled and visually impaired children in the Ninh province. After awarding scholarships to students, the remaining amount is assigned to centers with regulations to use in nurturing and teaching students.
Facing the latest adjustment on June 1st, the petrol price is predicted to increase to 32,000 Vietnam dong per liter. This greatly affects the poor in production costs of the enterprise. although we have taken measures to reduce the price increase, new developments show that if there is no more radical solution, the goal of controlling inflation, stabilizing the macroeconomy may be treatment.
From the beginning of 2022 until now, the Inter-Ministry of Industry and Finance has made 13 adjustments to petrol prices. In the last 5 adjustments, gasoline prices were continuously increasing. This greatly affects the input production costs of enterprises. Many delegates said that in the context of gasoline prices continuing to increase sharply, the stabilization fund has been exhausted. The most feasible solution to regulate prices is to reduce taxes and fees. There have been many opinions wondering about the application of both environmental tax and excise tax on gasoline. While gasoline is not a luxury good, it is subject to environmental protection tax, but also has to bear the excise tax. The value-added tax or VAT, environmental protection, special consumption account for nearly 40% of the price structure of 1 liter of petrol. Therefore, we absolutely have space to reduce gasoline prices to keep prices stable. Currently, gasoline is no longer a special commodity, but an essential commodity for people, so we need to research to continuously reduce this excise tax. Currently, the government is trying to control inflation, so we need to calculate carefully whether to increase or decrease. As the President said, when the economic development brings the poor into the blood of inflation, currently this issue is very hot in the world, and Vietnam is controlling well, but if we are not careful, we will be affected. However, the delegates also said that if reducing taxes, it should be balanced to a reasonable level so that people still have a sense of saving, should not increase input costs in production and business industries and people's life. At the same time, it is necessary to avoid creating a burden on the state budget. In the morning of June 1st, Mr. Ninh Son, Director of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, chaired a seminar on the current situation and solutions to improve the quality management of agricultural materials in the province. Attending the seminar, there was Mr. Lê Văn Thiệt, Deputy Director of Land Protection Department. Currently, due to the influence of the world situation, fertilizer price is continuously increasing. Some bad subjects take advantage of it to produce and trade fake and poor quality fertilizers. In 2021, the Inspector of Agricultural Sector carried out an inspection at 102 fertilizer production and trading establishments, taking 216 samples of fertilizers and pesticides for inspection. As a result, more than 30% of samples were not qualified, sanctioning administrative violations for 19 fertilizer and pesticide production and trading establishments with an amount of 100 million Vietnam dong. Inspection in the first quarter of 2022 at business establishments were found violating. There were 25 out of 75 pieces of fertilizer and 5 out of 40 pieces of plant protection drugs that violate quality. This conference aims to improve the responsibility of organizations and individuals in the production and trading of agricultural materials, raise awareness and understanding of consumers to choose the best quality products. At the seminar, representatives of fertilizer manufacturers and traders asked the functional sector to strengthen stricter inspection to detect and strictly punish establishments producing and trading poor quality goods and protecting reputation for a legitimate establishment. In the coming time, in addition to the periodic inspection plan, the agricultural sector will strengthen and inspect inspection of production and business facilities with the goal of reducing the rate of violation establishments to less than 10%, proposing the government to quickly have solutions to improve the system of legal documents related to the management of production and business establishments, ensuring sufficient deterrence in the direction of consumer protection.
Ladies and gentlemen, TayNinh City is the largest economic political center of the Ninh province, attracting many workers, students, and official civil servants coming here to work and study. Thus, the demand for renting accommodation increasingly. With the high population density, many boarding houses and houses for monthly rental are interspersed in residential areas. Boarding houses are often built with combustible material. Adding living habit, some people still have negligence, carelessness, and using electrical equipment system as well as heat and fire source. They are the root cause of fires in the last time.
In the face of complicated fire and explosion developments, the fire prevention fighting police force of the whole province in general and TayNinh City Police in particular have strengthened the work of instructing and inspecting fire safety for fire prevention fighting for residential areas, cluster, households and business establishments such as boarding houses, houses for monthly rental, organized rehearsal for many firefighting and rescue plans at key facilities, markets, supermarkets, and residential areas to create good coordination between professional firefighting forces and on-site firefighting forces to create a repair, proactively handle the situation when a fire occurs. Do not let the fire spread big fire. Since then, people and owners of boarding houses and houses for monthly rental always raise their awareness and vigilance with the aim of avoiding risks. In addition, the fire prevention, fighting and rescue team of the City Police Department coordinated with the police of the works and commerce to mobilize, guide, and propagate for residential areas, households, and owners of boarding houses rental with diversified forms of propaganda and implementation of fire prevention fighting according to the motto for on the spot command, on-site forces, vehicles, logistics, and signing commitment to ensure safety conditions on fire prevention fighting, instructing people, especially paying attention to safety in the process of using fire and heat sources and electrical equipment, promptly detecting loopholes, shortcomings, instructing establishments and households to overcome in order to completely prevent the causes of fire and explosion. It must turn up on unused power consumption equipment, regularly check and replace on and damaged electrical wires, install equipment to protect fuse estimates for each area, as well as other power equipment. Before leaving the house or going to bed, do not leave many flammable utensils, goods, materials in the cooking place. Do not store gasoline, gas, flammable liquids in the house. Each room of boarding houses, room for rent, need to be equipped with a fire extinguisher and water storage device, a motorbike, and means to stay away from the stove. When an incident occurs, it should find a safe exit and at the same time notify everyone around. Promptly get out of the dangerous area. Immediately notify the fire prevention, fighting and rescue team via phone number 114 using on-site equipment for initial firefighting. With the seamless implementation of fire prevention fighting solutions, the sense of responsibility of the owners of boarding houses and houses for monthly rental, as well as the awareness and sense of compliance with the law on fire prevention and fighting of people, have made positive changes, gradually promoting the strength of the whole people to participate in fire prevention fighting, contributing to maintaining stability, security, and order in the area. With the motto, fire prevention is better than firefighting. Besides the strong involvement of functional forces, fire prevention and fighting to be effective must be firstly solved by on-site forces and means, therefore not only on levels and sectors, but also at individual need to raise their sense of responsibility in fraud prevention and fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's TTV News. Thank you for watching and see you next time.